Hey everyone, welcome back. Bigelow Reviews here. I am Brent Bigelow, and I have a new review for you, and that is Beyonce's 8th studio album, Renaissance. Like I mentioned, this is Beyonce's 8th studio album, and technically her follow-up to 2019's The Lion King soundtrack, but realistically, it's actually the follow-up to her 2016's fantastic, critically acclaimed album, Lemonade, which personally is one of my favorite Beyonce albums. I don't listen to Beyonce religiously or consider myself like a Beyonce stan. I appreciate her music and I know what she's done for pop music and R&B music. But Lemonade be one of my favorites, and actually thinking Lemonade to be a pretty fantastic album as well, along with the video side of that project as well. This whole thing's pretty great. But when it comes to Renaissance, this album is like a totally different beast for Beyonce. First couple listens through, I really did not get it. I listened to it about 3 times all the way through. I'm like, this kind of feels like a bust. I really was not appreciating for what it was. That granted, I kind of had it on in the background, trying to like listen to it while I'm doing other things and just trying to find myself in it. But once I was told to kind of listen to it as if it's like a EDM album, that very next time to listen to it, I was like, I get it. It was like a light bulb moment for me. But it's literally like Beyonce EDM house music. I'm like, I like house music. House music's one of my favorite genres of like EDM. I grew up in the whole weird Skrillex era of crap, and I hate that. But when it comes to dubstep, I'm not a fan. But for house music, I find really enjoyable, just like how it just rolls and just kind of grooves. And Renaissance does a great job in that vibey, groovy lane. All the songs on here like definitely fade into each other really well. The mixing's fantastic. Each song tracks really well. Even after listening to this a few times, actually a lot of these songs by themselves, you take them out of place and actually listen to them. They do fit by themselves and play well solo as well. Like I said, I didn't know this was gonna be like an EDM project. When it comes to like when artists release singles and stuff, I try my best to be like, get it out of here. I don't want to listen to it. Like, I don't want to get spoiled. Like, again, like I didn't listen to Break My Soul. Knowing what I know now, it would have made a little bit more sense, I guess. Yeah, but this whole album from the get-go is definitely a nod to like 90s house and EDM music. Some of the elements kind of being a little more on the funky side, which we'll talk about later on. But you could totally tell that this is like 90s house music, like She really showed Drake how to make like an EDM house album, because that album was trash. When it comes to the good things on this project that I do enjoy, yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get the whole album going, but once it kind of gets going around like tracks 3 and 4, there's a solid like 4 or 5 songs after that are pretty fantastic. I think blend and a sample size work tremendously together. Songs like Cuff It, Break My Soul, Church Girl, Plastic Off the Sofa, all those songs really being highlights off the album for me. Some of my favorite tracks off the entire project. And even like Beyonce's voice kind of playing ad-libs to like an EDM like song in the background kind of works. I didn't think it would work. I kind of liked it. And even some of these songs do have like a bit of a disco thing to them. And I think one of like probably the best song on this project is Summer Renaissance, with the Donna Summers sample on here. That song is just fantastic. It's the sample is perfectly placed. Beyonce went ping with the cherry on top. It was great. Fantastic. Just a great way to finish up an album that somewhere in the middle took a dip. It definitely landed on the high note. And when it comes to the bad things on here that I really am not that crazy about, like I did mention going into my good stuff, it definitely took a while to get going. The first 2 songs on here are pretty butt cheeks. Not really feeling those. And then even some of the songs after like we get into the really nice groove, a lot of the tracks on here I'm not really messing with too much. There's Virgo's Groove, Heated, and Thick. Some of them are just kind of clunky. They're just odd sounding, just weird to hear Beyonce on beats like this. And then some of the lyrics are kind of questionable too. Some of them are a little ridiculous. I think Heat and Thick being the main culprits of the questionable side. That being said, I do really enjoy Beyonce on the EDM tracks in that spot where the album really found its groove. It was something I didn't know I ever wanted in life, but once I heard it, I was like, I wanted more. But the ones that I got more of just didn't hold up to the standard that we already had. It's nice to see Beyonce is willing to like push herself and totally try something completely different. Where Lemonade really was, she was being more artsy and more interpretive and embodying more things. This one, she went a totally different route, and I have to commend her for that, because that's really impressive to do after having such a stable and so set in stone legacy already. But going through the tracks on here, for the song Cuff It, it really has this like Get Lucky Daft Punk vibe to it, which is pretty obvious when you listen to it. You're like, oh, I hear the chugging guitars in the background. It totally sounds just like it. But the whole track is just disco as hell, man. It's so vibey. It's so danceable. Beyonce is just ready to go to the club and just tear shit up on this track. And then, let's be real, like the horn at the very end was just a fantastic way to end this track, and really felt like an Earth, Wind, and Fire type thing too. On the track Church Girl, it has this like southern hip-hop lemonade thing to it. We're saying that even church girls can get down. What's good? Off the track Plastic Off the Sofa, Beyonce does her best little sister impression, like Solange on this one. Just the way she sings and how she hits those high notes, it sounds like her sister. And I couldn't help, I was like, where's her name in it? She didn't feature. I think this would have been a great time for her sister to feature on this project. But that being said, this song is definitely still funky. It's groovy. A bit of soulful sexy in there, but just the bass on the song too just totally bounces. Like makes you want to move your shoulders a little bit. On the track Move, which I failed to kind of mention earlier on, has Grace Jones and Thames on it. Thames is fantastic, and honestly, I didn't even know she was on here until reading liner notes. Like I couldn't tell she was in there at all. But then Grace Jones, her deep voice are just fantastic. It hit pretty well, and even Beyonce in the background going like, Grace Jones. Grace Jones. Made it a little obvious that she's in this track. Beyonce's talking about everybody's got to move out the way. It's time for her girls to tear it up on the dance floor. And then, like I mentioned previous, on the track Thick, has Beyonce on her Lizzo female empowerment stuff. The beat on this one is absolutely just pumping and bumping and kind of dark and mysterious sounding. The chorus on here is nice, but I'm just not feeling it that much. It's just too minimal for me. But as a whole on this thing, I'm not too obsessed with it. I enjoy it. I'm glad that it's like once I listened to it and kind of finally got it, I was happy about it. But like, after listening to it a few times and not really being that impressed with it, and then getting through, I'm like, oh, I get it. Here's some good songs. These are some decent ones I didn't recognize before. Yeah, I mean, it's a good project. It was okay. It's definitely not better than anything Beyonce has done or has made, but it's still better than what some people could do. And I'm feeling a score of like 72 on this project. But what do you think? Put your score down in the comment section below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with all of your besties. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Biggie out.